My fiancée blindsided me with a betrayal so shocking I sold our house, erased her from my life, and vanished. Here's the chaos that unfolded. Hello, everyone. After what feels like forever, I, 32, decided it was time to share what's been happening with me lately. Here's the deal. Until recently, I believed I was marrying the love of my life, Emily, 29. We've been together for 5 years, and for the most part, I thought we were rock solid. But now I'm sitting here wondering why I didn't see this coming sooner. Emily and I met at a charity event in Denver, introduced by a mutual friend. She was witty, self-assured, and had a straightforward attitude that I admired. I'd dated before, but no one clicked with me like she did. We hit it off fast and moved in together after 18 months. Everything felt natural, like we were aligned on careers, marriage, and eventually starting a family. She was a freelance web developer, and I worked as a logistics coordinator for a manufacturing firm, so our schedules meshed well. Life wasn't extravagant, but it was fulfilling. Early on, Emily would leave sweet notes on my desk, promising forever. I kept every one, never imagining they'd become evidence of a lie. We'd been talking about marriage for a while, but it wasn't until 2022 that I proposed. Nothing elaborate, just a quiet dinner at home for the two of us. Emily seemed overjoyed. She teared up, hugged me, and said yes. That night we started planning our future. A spring wedding, a small guest list, and this quaint venue by a river in Boulder. It felt like everything was coming together. Or so I thought. The first red flags were subtle and easy to overlook. They were tiny cracks I ignored because I didn't want to overanalyze. For instance, Emily's excitement for wedding planning waned after a couple of months. At first, she was all in, sending me inspiration boards, browsing dresses, and debating details like whether I preferred lilies or daisies for the tables. But then it just stopped. I'd ask things like, "Hey, have you picked your bridesmaids yet?" and she'd brush it off. "Not yet, I'm still deciding," she'd say. The same thing happened with her dress, the cake, the music. Every choice we'd been so eager about became something she wanted to delay. "There's still time," she'd say. The wedding started feeling like an afterthought. One night I found her staring at an old photo of her and Jake, her college ex, on her phone. When I asked, she snapped, "It's nothing, Ethan. Stop being paranoid." At the time, I told myself it was just stress. Wedding planning can be intense, right? Plus, Emily had a lot going on with work. I figured she'd come around eventually. What I didn't realize was that her lack of enthusiasm wasn't about the wedding. It was about us. The real wake-up call came one night when we were out with friends in Fort Collins. Someone suggested that silly TikTok game. You know, the one where you answer personal questions while keeping a straight face. No judgment. It was fun until someone asked, if you could relive one relationship, which would it be? Without hesitating, Emily said, "Oh, probably Jake." Just like that, Jake, her college ex, the guy who betrayed her. The room went silent. She laughed awkwardly and tried to backtrack, saying, "I mean, not that I'd want to, it's just a big part of my past." I wanted to confront her right there, but we were with friends, so I let it slide. Later, when we were alone, I brought it up. What was that about Jake? Why would you pick that relationship to relive? She shrugged it off like it was nothing. "It was a dumb game, Ethan. Don't take it so seriously." She smiled and changed the topic. I didn't push it because I didn't want to start a fight over something that might have been trivial. But it stuck with me. The next day, I found a hidden text from Jake on her phone. "Missed you at the reunion." She'd never mentioned attending it. After that, her behavior became harder to ignore. She was on her phone more, scrolling through texts with a sly smile. She started giving vague excuses for why she couldn't hang out, or why she'd cancel plans last minute. "Oh, sorry, I have a ton of work to catch up on tonight," she'd say. Or, "I might have promised my dad I'd visit this weekend." The excuses weren't suspicious on their own, but they were piling up. It felt like I was becoming less of a priority. Then came a Thursday night that changed everything. I got home from work early, excited to spend the evening with Emily. I was hoping we'd order takeout and binge-watch a show, a low-key night. But when I walked in, the vibe was off. She was sitting on the couch with her laptop, not working, just staring at the screen, lost in thought. "Hey, I'm home," I said, trying to lighten the mood. "You're early," she replied like it was a bad thing. I brushed it off and went to the kitchen to start dinner. But the silence in the house was heavy. Usually she'd ask about my day or share something about hers. Tonight, nothing. Finally, I turned and asked, "Is everything okay?" She closed her laptop, looked at me, and said, "Actually, there's something we need to talk about." My stomach dropped. You know that feeling when you sense something awful is coming but can't stop it? That was me, standing there like a fool with a spatula in my hand. I walked over and sat across from her. "All right," I said. "What's going on?" She hesitated, like she was searching for the right words, then just blurted it out. "I've been thinking about us and about Jake. I think I need some time to sort things out. I'd like to take a break and see if there's still something there with him." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want to take a break to date your ex?" "Are you serious, Emily? We're engaged." "It's not like that," she said quickly, as if she could smooth it over. "I just want to be sure I'm making the right choice with you. If it doesn't work out, I promise I'll come back." "Back?" I snapped. "You think I'm some rental car you can return when you're done joyriding?" That's when I realized how bold she was. She thought I'd just wait around while she decided if I was good enough. Something shifted in me at that moment. I didn't yell or lose it. I just sat there, staring at her, wondering how I hadn't seen this coming. I wasn't sure how to respond at first. My fiancée just told me she wants a break to explore things with her ex, Jake. What do you even say to that? Finally, I asked, "So, what does this break mean to you?" My voice was calmer than I felt. She sat up a bit, like she'd rehearsed this. "I think we need space to figure things out. I'll take some time to see if my feelings for Jake are real and you can reflect on us too." I couldn't believe her nerve. "Wait," I said, leaning forward. "You're saying you need to date your ex, but I need to reflect on us? What kind of twisted logic is that?" She sighed, like I was being unreasonable. "It's not about you doing anything wrong, Ethan. It's about me figuring out what I need." "And what if I don't wait?" I challenged. "What if I'm done?" Her eyes widened, but she doubled down. "Then maybe we weren't meant to be." She sounded so practiced, the way she spoke, the way she avoided eye contact. It was like she'd already decided this was happening and just expected me to go along with it. "You know this sounds insane, right?" I said. "You don't just put your fiancé on hold while you go play what if with some guy who treated you like trash." Her face tightened, and for the first time I saw how stubborn she could be. "I'm not asking for permission, Ethan. I'm telling you what I need." That hit differently. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was angry. I stood up and started pacing, trying to calm down. "So, what, Emily? You're just going to pack a bag and head to Jake's place? Is that your big plan?" "No," she snapped. "It's not like that. I don't know what it looks like yet, but I need clarity before we move forward. I owe it to myself to know I'm making the right decision." "You owe it to yourself?" I asked, letting out a bitter laugh. "And what about what you owe me? We're engaged, Emily. We're supposed to be building a life together, and now you're telling me you need to test drive your ex to make sure I'm good enough?" "I never said you weren't good enough," she shot back, her voice rising. "But if we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, I have to be sure, and right now, I'm not." That was it. She wasn't just curious about Jake. She was unsure about me. Even after 5 years together, all our plans, she was still unsure. It hit me like a ton of bricks. She didn't see how hurtful and absurd her request was. She thought this was reasonable, that I'd just sit there while she worked through whatever nonsense was in her head. I stopped pacing and looked at her, really looked at her. "You know what? Fine," I said, my voice flat. "Take your break." She blinked, surprised by how quickly I agreed. "Ethan, I'm not trying to hurt you. I just need space to figure things out." I nodded, keeping my face neutral. "All right, if that's what you need." She hesitated, like she expected me to argue or fight for her. When I didn't, she stood up, grabbed her laptop, and said, "I'll stay at my mom's for a bit. This isn't permanent. We'll talk when I've had some time, okay?" "Okay," I said simply. She looked at me, unsure how to respond, then went to the bedroom. I could hear her moving around, tossing things into a bag. I sat on the couch, calm but already planning. If she wants a break, fine. Let her have it. As she left, she paused at the door and whispered, "I still love you, Ethan." I didn't respond. The door clicked shut, and I knew I'd never trust those words again. A few minutes later, I heard the front door close. She was gone, probably thinking she'd left me there to wait and worry. She had no idea I wasn't going to sit idle. She could have her fantasy, but I had other plans. I'll update once I've set things in motion. This isn't going to end the way she expects. Thank you for the feedback and advice on my last post. A lot has happened this week, and I want to share how things are progressing. First, I want to thank this community for the amazing support. Many of you said I shouldn't just wait around, and you were right. I've been busy taking action. I called my friend Caleb, my best friend since high school. He's the kind of guy who doesn't mince words. After hearing the whole story, he brought over burgers and we spent the night strategizing. "Dude, you know she's going to try to come crawling back when things crash with Jake, right?" Caleb said. He was spot on. The more we talked, the clearer it became that I needed to take charge. This wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming my life. Caleb pulled out his phone and showed me Jake's social media posts of him partying with other women, time-stamped just days ago. "She's chasing a mirage," he said. Started with the house. Emily seems to forget it's entirely in my name. She loves acting like it's our home, always talking about the rugs and wall art she picked out, but I'm the one paying the mortgage. I contacted a realtor first thing Tuesday morning. The realtor came by to check out the property in Aurora, and we decided to list it immediately. The market in our area is booming, and we already have multiple offers. Emily has no clue. She probably thinks I'm sitting in our house waiting for her to sort out her feelings. Next, I started cutting her out of my life. You know those dream, hope, inspire signs she insisted on hanging up? Gone. Those fancy throw blankets she loved? Donated. Her clothes and personal items she left behind? I carefully boxed them up. But here's where I got strategic. Instead of dropping her stuff at her mom's or letting her pick it up, I hired a moving company. They delivered everything to her mom's house in Lakewood with a brief note. "Here's your stuff. Best of luck with Jake." Some might call that petty, but I see it as efficient. She wanted space to think? She's got it. Literally. The best part came when mutual friends started asking questions. Instead of playing the victim or bad-mouthing her, I just told the truth. Emily decided she needed to explore things with her ex before committing to marriage. I decided I deserve better than being someone's fallback. You should see how people react to that. No drama, no accusations, just facts. It's incredible how quickly the narrative shifts when you don't try to control it. I've also been making moves at work. I applied for a role at our Pacific Northwest office in Seattle that I'd been eyeing for a while. If the house sells, which looks likely, and I get this job, I'll be starting fresh across the country. Emily has tried reaching out a few times this week, starting with casual texts like, "Hope you're doing all right," and escalating to worried messages when she realized I was actually moving on instead of waiting. Yesterday she freaked out when her mom told her the boxes arrived. "What are you doing? Why are you acting like this is over?" I kept my reply short. "Because it is over, Emily. You made your choice and now I'm making mine." She started crying, saying she just needed time to figure things out, that I was being rash and this wasn't what she meant by a break. "What did you expect?" I asked. "That I'd sit here like a loyal dog while you tested your ex?" "That's not how this works." "But what if I realize you're the one I want?" she sobbed. "Then you'll have learned a valuable lesson about not taking people for granted," I said before hanging up. Later, I found one of her old notes in a drawer. "Ethan, you're my forever." I burned it in the sink. The strange thing is, I'm not angry anymore. I feel free. Every box I pack, every step I take feels like I'm reclaiming parts of myself I didn't know I'd lost. Caleb stopped by again yesterday to help pack the house. He noticed the change. "You seem different," he said. "More grounded." I am different. When Emily first said she wanted to pursue Jake, I felt like my world was collapsing. Now, I see it wasn't my world. It was the false reality I'd been living in, finally crumbling. I have more plans in motion, but I'll save those for the next update. For now, I'll just say this. Sometimes the best way to respond to someone treating you like an option is to remove yourself from their list entirely. Stay tuned. This story isn't over yet, and I have a feeling Emily's break to sort things out isn't going as planned. Thank you for the feedback on my latest update. Things have escalated, and I want to share how the situation has developed. Remember that Pacific Northwest job I mentioned? I got it. The timing couldn't be better. The house is under contract, with closing scheduled for next month. But that's just the start. What's really interesting is how Emily's Jake experiment is playing out. Through mutual friends, I learned their rekindled romance isn't the dream she imagined. Apparently, 5 years haven't changed him. He's still the unreliable guy who betrayed Zhao Dian. But here's the kicker. Emily's been trying to control the narrative on social media, posting vague, uplifting quotes about discovering yourself and following your truth. So I decided to play along, but smarter. I made one honest post. Update on my life. Thrilled to announce I've accepted a position in Seattle. Sometimes when one door closes, better ones open. Excited for this new chapter. The comments and messages flooded in. People congratulating me, asking about the move, and of course curious about Emily. I kept my responses simple and truthful. We're no longer together. She wanted to explore other options, so I'm exploring mine too. Then a mutual friend sent me a screenshot. Emily had liked Jake's post about a new chapter with a heart emoji, but deleted it after my post went viral. This triggered a ripple effect in our social circle. Those friends who were on the fence? Watching me handle this with dignity while Emily posts cryptic relationship quotes completely shifted the vibe. Then came the professional fallout. Emily's freelance web development work relies heavily on referrals and networking. Olivia, 31, a mutual contact in the tech industry who used to send her clients, reached out to me. I need to know what happened, Olivia said over coffee in Broomfield. Emily's telling people you're on a temporary break to grow separately, but something's off. I shared Emily's comment about wanting to date Jake. Olivia's expression said it all. She was stunned. By the end of the week, several potential clients had paused their projects with Emily. Not because I said anything cruel, but because, honestly, who wants to work with someone who treats commitment so casually? Emily felt the shift. Her texts became more frequent and desperate. Why are you telling people about Jake? You're ruining my reputation. This isn't fair. I just needed time to think. I replied to the last one. You got what you wanted. Time and space. How I use mine is no longer your concern. Then came the turning point. Jake, in his infinite wisdom, posted a photo of them together at the cafe in Golden where Emily and I had our first date. It was clear she was trying to rewrite our history with him. It was both pathetic and amusing. The post didn't last long, but the damage was done. Our friends saw it, and the few people still buying Emily's Finding Myself story lost respect for her. Even her own sister reached out to me. I'm so sorry about how she's handling this. You deserve better. Her sister added, She's been texting Jake for months behind your back, Ethan. I found her old phone. It's worse than you think. The most satisfying part? I didn't have to be vindictive. I just lived my life openly and honestly while Emily tried to play both sides. The truth has a way of coming out. She showed up at my office yesterday. Jake had already shown his true colors, flirting with other women, being unreliable, same old story. She was in tears. I made a huge mistake, she sobbed. I was scared of commitment. I thought I needed to see if there was something better out there, but I was wrong. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Then why did you lie for months? I asked. She froze, then whispered, I thought I could have both. I just looked at her calmly. No, Emily. The best thing that ever happened to me was you showing your true colors before we got married. She tried to plead, saying we could fix this, that she'd go to therapy, that she'd prove she could be trusted. I shook my head. You don't get it, do you? This isn't about Jake anymore. It's about you thinking you could keep me as a backup while you explored your options. That's not love. That's convenience." She left my office in tears, but I felt lighter than ever. The house closes next week. Most of my stuff is packed, and my new life in Seattle starts in a month. The funny thing is, some people think I'm being too harsh. Everyone makes mistakes, they say. But this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Every text to Jake, every lie about where she was, every second she spent planning to put our relationship on hold. Those were all choices. I'll share another update once the move is done. For now, I'll leave you with this. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Thank you for following my journey. This will be my final update, and I have some exciting developments to share. Seattle is everything I hoped for. My new apartment has an incredible view of Puget Sound, and the tech scene here is vibrant. My new office team is amazing. It's refreshing to be around people who value progress and innovation over drama. But first, let me catch you up on how things wrapped up back home. The closing went smoothly, and the house sold for $50,000, 0 cents over the asking price. It was wild to see Emily's reaction after she found out through mutual friends. She didn't believe I'd sold the house until she drove by and saw the new owners moving in. Here's where it gets really interesting. Jake reached out to me, of all people. He sent a long message claiming he never meant to cause trouble and that Emily had contacted him first, months before she asked for the break. Emily had been planning her little exploration for a while, texting Jake for months, carefully setting up her backup plan. The irony, Jake ended things with her because, in his words, if she could do this to you, she could do it to anyone. Emily's professional fallout has been significant. Remember all the clients she had lined up? Most of them found other developers, not because I said anything, but because word travels in the industry. One of her biggest clients actually reached out to me. "We heard what happened with the engagement," they said. "We're looking for someone who can commit to long-term projects. Know any reliable developers?" I recommended a talented colleague of mine, and she got the contract. Karma, I guess. Emily's social media spiral has been something else. First came the sad quotes about losing your soulmate, followed by angry posts about toxic people who can't handle growth. Then she made desperate attempts to show everyone how happy she was. The last one was wild. She posted about launching her own design studio. 3 days later, she was sending out job applications. Last week, her sister contacted me again. Emily's been staying with their parents in Arvada, claiming she needs time to heal from our breakup. Her sister's exact words: "She really thought you'd wait for her. When you sold the house and moved, it shattered her fantasy completely." The most validating moment came during a video call with our old friend group. They were filling me in on local gossip, and someone mentioned seeing Emily at a coffee shop in Longmont, explaining to a potential client why her portfolio website was down. Apparently, she forgot I was the one who set it up and maintained it. She couldn't figure out how to renew the hosting when it expired. Not my problem anymore. My new life here is coming together nicely. I've joined a local hiking club, started taking guitar lessons, and even adopted a dog from a Seattle shelter. His name is Apollo, and he's a better companion than my ex-fiancée. The tech community here is welcoming. Last week I was invited to speak at a startup conference, something that wouldn't have happened if I'd stayed in Colorado. I had one final interaction with Emily. She emailed me asking for some old photos from our shared cloud storage. I'd already downloaded what I wanted and deleted the account weeks ago. Her email said, "I know you're trying to erase me from your life, but you can't just delete our memories. Those 5 years meant something." My reply was short: "You're right. Those years taught me what I don't want in a partner. Thanks for the lesson." A week later, I found a package at my new doorstep, my old engagement ring, with a note: "I don't deserve this." I donated it to a local charity. Some mutual friends think I'm being too harsh, that I should be more forgiving of her moment of confusion. But it wasn't a moment. It was a calculated decision to keep me as a safety net while she chased what she thought was a better option. The biggest lesson I've learned? Sometimes the worst things that happen to you lead to the best outcomes. If Emily hadn't shown her true colors, I might have married her, only to discover her real character years later, maybe with kids in the picture. Instead, I'm in a beautiful city with a great job, making new friends and feeling hopeful about the future. The pain of betrayal has turned into gratitude for the bullet I dodged, but late at night, when Apollo's asleep, I still check my phone, half expecting her name to pop up. Healing's messy, and I'm not there yet. Thank you to everyone who's followed this story and offered advice. Your support kept me strong when I could have wavered. To anyone going through something similar, here's my advice. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait for them to change their mind about you. Life's too short to be someone's backup plan. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is walk away and build something better for yourself. That's it for now. This chapter of my life is officially closed, and I'm ready for the next one to start, scars and all. Take care, and thank you for everything.